If you're a crypto investor, right now is the time that's going to decide and determine whether you make it or whether you quietly disappear from the market. It's not when green candles are all over the place. It's not when there's so much liquidity and so much buzz around the market that you feel like you can't go wrong with your picks. It's not during that time when there's all-time highs being called all over the place, when Bitcoin is going to $1 million, when everybody's just in a frenzy, when the Telegram chat, you can't really catch up because there's so many messages, so many buys, and so much going on. That's not the time. The time of the test is now. It's when there's red candles, when there's a sea of red all over the place, when there's liquidation, when there's just quiet on crypto Twitter, when there's no more liquidity coming through, when Bitcoin is going to zero, according to some people, and that crypto is a scam. That is the test right there. It's not when you're trying to find the 10x. That's not the test. It's not trying to double your investment. That's not the test. The test is enduring during the period of red and red candles. That is the test, and that is true conviction. It's easy to confuse conviction when the market is green. You get the illusion of being a great trader, right? And you get the illusion of being right all the time, right? Because you can put money into a project, and the fact of the matter is that if the market is doing well, most projects are going to pump. And they might not go parabolic, but they're going to do very well, maybe a 3x, 4x. And that feels really good because it makes you feel smart. It makes you feel like you know the market. It makes you feel like you know what you're doing. And I'm not saying you don't, but that's the illusion of conviction, right? But when things go south, when the market starts changing, when there's capitulation, when there's a lot of red, when there's liquidations, when people on leverage start getting liquidated left and right, that's the moment when you are actually going through the test. That's the biggest test a crypto investor can make. Why? Because it'll test your patience. It'll test your conviction. It'll test your thesis. It'll test everything that you worked on. It'll test it. And so how do you know if you're failing the test? Because failing the test is not just getting liquidated from one day to another and just completely disappearing. Although that happens, and that happens for some people, and that happened, recently for a lot of folks. That typically means you're over leveraged, right? And you've just put all your eggs in one basket. For the most part, I don't think that's every investor, but failing the test is slow, right? It's over rotating. It's changing your way of thinking about a project just because you don't see it moving. And I've been there. I've totally been there. I've questioned my picks. I've questioned why I'm invested in certain projects because there's no chatter in the Telegram, because there's no buzz around the project like there was when everything was green, when everything was going up, when everybody was just in a frenzy and buying and trading. So questioning your picks, that's another part of it. So when you start questioning, when you start changing the way you think about things, especially your projects, you start making mistakes, right? You start over rotating, you start losing money here and there because of slippage, because the price might go down and you buy again the same project. Indecision and uncertainty about what you're going to do, and changing your thesis and so many other things when things are red is how you fail the test. How do you pass the test? Passing the test is also not about a 10x. Passing the test is not about 100x. I mean, it could be, right? More than anything, that's going to be determined by luck in many ways. But passing the test is staying true to your conviction, staying true to the things that in the first place got you to invest in these projects that you hold. Passing the test is knowing that a quiet Twitter, that knowing that a quiet Telegram is not the end of the world. And it doesn't mean that your project is not doing well or won't do well when things change. Passing the test is staying true to the way you've invested. in terms of long term. Passing the test means staying steady, dollar cost averaging, adding to the picks that you feel are going to be doing well eventually, right? The market is cyclical. The market will not go to zero. The market is not really a scam, although it might seem like it many times. And, I can argue that it's rigged in certain ways. We can talk about that another, place in time. But the reality is that the market is what it is. And if you accept it as it is, and you follow your conviction, follow your picks, do what you set out to do, and look at the long-term gains, look at the long-term process, it is very likely that you will pass this test right now. Because eventually, and I can't guarantee anything, but eventually things will change. Whether it's a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months, or 6 months, eventually things will change. And that's when everything will start turning over. You'll start seeing more green. You'll start feeling like your conviction. And then you will feel like you've done the right thing again. And then you'll get that illusion again of being right all the time. So if you see, and if you think about it, this test that we're going right now through is probably the most important moment that you will go through in crypto. It's not when you're making big gains. It's not when you're selling for a profit. Obviously, that's the goal. That's the end goal. But true success is measured by the patience. It's measured by the steadiness. It's measured by your conviction. And it's measured by the discipline, primarily, that you have as an investor. So think about it. Think about where you are in terms of your positions. Think about where you are as an investor and in terms of your picks and your projects. Right now that the market is down, look at opportunities. Look, where can I allocate a little bit more funding, a little bit of my liquidity, or a little bit of my funds, so that eventually, once the market starts turning over, once the market starts getting better, then you'll start seeing those gains and eventually are able to sell and profit from crypto. It's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds, but if you're convicted, if you're patient, and primarily if you are consistent, you will pass this test. Thank you for listening, guys. If you're new to this channel, I'm Beto. I like projects on the base chain primarily, and I do videos weekly, a couple of videos every week. Feel free to subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next time.